Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and yes, we are going back to the JRC. But brief disclaimer, real quick, pardon me. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, all pertinent links are going to be there in the description box for you. That way, should you like to deep dive on those subjects, you'll certainly be able to go ahead and do so. Also, real quick, trigger warnings. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. So if you got a child that is 16 and younger and they are watching this channel, please very much, parental supervision, very much advised, alright? Alright, now I told you I wanted to get at least 100 vids in on the regulations before we continue forward to see if there's any new updates. So, here we are once again on the comments in regards to the new final rule. From the FDA as issued in 2023. And because we are dealing with the government, which never does anything at a snail's pace, and that isn't at a snail's pace, here we are still almost closing in on 2026 here. But anyways, back to where we were. Imogen comments, ban the devices, short, sweet, simple, beautiful. How this goes without saying, why we're having this as a debate in the year of our Lord 2025. And people wonder why I'm not shocked by the Trump administration. Like, honey, welcome to the world I have been dealing with for almost the last 20 years. Oh, and he's not giving you comments back? Huh, sucks, doesn't it? Alright, to the next one here. This comment says, these practices are barbaric and proven to not be effective. Please ban the practices. Short and sweet. You gotta love it when people are short and sweet. Not everything requires a book or a doctorate thesis. Oh, good Lord. I speak too soon. Okay. Here we go again. Alright, I am only going to read the first part, and then I'm going to explain to you something that is called appeal to authority, a particular subject that we have used a lot on this channel. It is a particularly sinister and condescending form of gaslighting. And I'm going to explain to you why here in just a moment. But first, this is coming from Division of Dockets Management, or as they would say, HFA 305 is where they sent it to. And this is a person named Miles. He says, I am in receipt of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's FDA proposal in March 26, 2024, Federal Register to ban electrical stimulation devices for self-injurious behavior or aggressive behavior. I write to oppose the ban because I don't believe in logic, reason, or common human decency, and I don't believe disabled people deserve compassion. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to put it like it is. If you oppose this ban, you think that disabled people deserve to be abused and tortured because we were born disabled. I'm sorry you're not going to convince me otherwise. Any other argument that has been brought up makes no coherent sense. Not even those coming from the professionals. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Here's where the appeal to authority starts. I trained at Harvard Medical School where I earned an MD while also receiving a PhD from MIT's Brain and Cognitive Sciences Department. Does that make you a psychiatrist? But Brain and Cognitive Sciences is not being a psychiatrist. Just because you study one particular area of medicine does not mean you understand all the other different areas of medicine. This is a particular type of professional arrogance that I've had to deal with quite often. It is explaining to these folks who think because they became doctors that they are self-entitled and all-knowing, that in actuality, there's a whole hell of a lot they don't know. I know this because every time I get a new primary care physician, they see my diagnosis on paper, but I have to explain literally everything to them. Everything, including all my current treatment plans, and not just that, explain exactly their names, what is their function, who is assisting me in reaching those goals, every single time. And would you like to know why that is, Mr. Cunningham? It's because when they became doctors, they became doctors for primary care medicine. Primary care does not make you a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a neurologist. Want to know what else doesn't make you a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a neurologist? But I got a PhD in the Brain and Cognitive Sciences Department. You mention that, but you don't mention what the degree is. So appeal to authority failed. Crashes on its face, right there. Right there. Because if you're not going to mention what degree that you got from said school, it is irrelevant. Any thoughts or ideas as a professional you may have on this subject are absolutely rendered irrelevant because this is not your field of medicine. Your expertise lies in your field. Let the other experts, who are actually the expert in this field, do their job and you do yours. And don't speak on areas of medicine that you have not been trained in. Because that doctorate degree does not make you the master of all medicine. In fact, I have often found that there is a major disconnect between what we know as more regular healthcare and the mental health field that has only gotten to be a larger gap over the last few decades than it was even when I was a kid. Sit down, Mr. Cunningham. Sit down. Let me go ahead and continue here. I then completed residency in an adult psychiatry at the Massachusetts General and McLean Hospitals, followed by a fellowship in neuropsychiatry and the behavioral neurology at McLean Hospital. I may have spoke too soon, but I still stand by what I said, Mr. Cunningham. Even you, as a professional, if you stand by this insanity, if you are willing to stake your medical career on the concept of other people hurting us so that we don't hurt us, then you need every single license you have revoked. Because you're just fucking stupid at that point. Stupid, cruel, condescending, cold piece of human garbage this side of the abyss. I said what I said. But all these difficulties, and what else works, huh? Said every abusive parent ever. Because that's what it is. Sorry, not sorry. And here we go with more gaslighting. I am certified by both the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology in the field of adult psychiatry and the United Council for Neurological Subspecialties in the Behavioral Neurology and Neuropsychology. I have been on the staff at McLean Hospital since 2001, and I currently serve as the psychiatrist in chief on multiple units. Can somebody please remind me just how lucky I happen to be that I do not live in Massachusetts with these evil bastards? And that's really sad because that's where my dad's family is from. And God, when I was a kid, I loved it there. I wanted to move there so bad. So bad. But now I thank my lucky stars that that never happened, because I probably would have ended up there. Because apparently the professionals of Massachusetts have no compassion. They only have condescension and absolute and utter hatred for the fact that people like me exist. But since we do, we might as well be used for bad experiments. Sorry, not sorry. I have a chip on my shoulder the size of Texas. If you want to know why, ask me, but just make sure you've got a lot of time on your hands. I have retained by Square Medical Group for 10 years as an addiction specialist. For the love of God, are you done tapping yourself on the back yet? If you don't stop, you may break your arm. My in-depth training rendered me particularly well suited to opine on the FDA's current proposal to ban the use of electric stimulation devices. But, not the people who've actually been subjected to the thing. My professional opinion should supersede your human civil rights. That's what that says to me. My expertise of a doctor can tell you it is not a violation of human or civil rights. I don't care what the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture is. I am a doctor. You want to talk about some of the worst gaslighting I've had to deal with outside of my aunt? Some of these damn doctors. Okay? What do I mean by that? It's a lot of the old guard. They are extremely condescending, and they have a particular view of people like me, which usually, them being at their kindness, treat you and speak to you as though you are 6 years old, if they deign to acknowledge your presence at all. In fact, around up in my 20s, literally up in my 20s, my mom would sometimes come to the appointments because she was my ride. And there's nothing I had to say that she hasn't already probably heard before. I'd also bring her in because sometimes I wouldn't notice things that she would notice. But what happened is that he would speak over me, just to her. Not to me about my own treatment, in spite of the fact that I was indeed my own guardian, which he had right there in the file in front of him, right there on his desk. But she was literally there as the driver, or in case of an emergency, or if I may have missed something. And yeah, I would call up Burrow later. I want a new doctor. I will not be able to work with this man who condescends down to me and doesn't think that I have the mind or capability to make informed decisions about my own health and mental health care. I will not sit there and deal with a doctor who feels like I should feel privileged as a little disabled person to have him deign to address me at all. That is exactly what Mr. Cunningham sounds like. Well, I have all the knowledge. I am a doctor, and this is what we're doing. Me putting my foot down saying, the hell we are. Excuse me. End of the appointment. At the end of the day, folks, we're still their boss. And you don't have to take that treatment from them. You paid them, not the other way around. They don't just get to teach you any way that they want and get away with it. Mr. Cunningham reminds me of those people. Because you notice the first 2.5 pages of this 31-paged reply is all about himself. None of that was relevant or asked for. What was asked for was a comment, not a novel. What was asked for is, do you agree with the ban or not? Not for you to start listing your credentials like you were preparing for an interview. A lot of people do this in this fight, folks. The gaslighting, the credentials, to try and shout you down. And it's so obvious. In this case, it is so just out and out nauseously condescending and full of itself and narcissistic that AH could take fucking lessons from this guy. She could take lessons. Oh my God. Well, that's about as much narcissism as I am willing to stomach for this afternoon. Just watch out for those folks who will use that appeal to authority, because they do so to try to use their credentials in order to shut down anything that you say. Crowd out your voice by swinging their medical licenses in other people's faces. It's annoying, it's condescending, and it does kind of edge me a little bit towards violence. If you can't come onto a federal page and make a simple 2-paragraph statement on the subject at hand, but instead have to write a 31-page goddamn essay where the first 2 pages are nothing but you kissing your own ass, then you are out of touch and have no business practicing medicine whatsoever. I said what I said. That was ridiculous. And I've seen such level of being in love with yourself before, but that was just absolute. Let me know in the comments if that didn't just nauseate you just as much as it nauseated me. Like, dude, get over yourself. You're not God. Although I've met a lot of doctors with God complexes. They pretty much all act like Mr. Cunningham. Well, Mr. Cunningham, I am also a professional who has been in this field in one capacity or another for almost 20 years. I outstrip you in experience. I outstrip you with being one-on-one with these individuals and helping them figure out their own treatment programs and community-based services along with their parents. You don't know a damn thing about this side of medicine. The fact, but I got all these doctorates and neurosciences and stuff, and you should do what I say. Anybody who tells me you need to do what I say usually get a flip of the bird, and then I'm going to do the exact polar opposite. Alright, we're going to go ahead and read this next one here. We're going to close out for this particular video, folks. This one says, I am the Director of Behavioral Services and a board-certified behavioral analyst at the Charles River Center for Adults with Developmental and Intellectual Disabilities. I stand with the FDA's proposed ruling. Least restrictive methods should be utilized to the fullest extent no matter the severity of challenging behaviors. And contrary to the JRC's belief, that device is not less intrusive. That device is one of the most intrusive devices I have ever seen in my existence. And considering it's me and knowing my love of history, particularly the medieval era, that's kind of fucking saying something. Least restrictive methods. GED is not one. ESD devices serve not only punishment procedure, but cause psychological trauma and create more challenging behaviors. Explain it for Dr. Cunningham in the back, because he don't seem to get it. Doesn't. I heard my grandma from beyond the grave. It doesn't. Alright. We're going to go ahead and close it out for this one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time. Folks, you know the drill. If you would be so kind, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and as always, don't forget to hit the comments. And also, please make sure to show that you are still set for notifications. We're going to be continuing with Down the Rabbit Hole and continuing on for our new series on snake oil salesmen on Sundays. And I don't want you to miss anything. I appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea absolutely do. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you all here in a little bit. Bye-bye, everyone.